So the first thing is Cayuse SP. I'm sure that you guys are all aware of what Cayuse SP is. It's used in all aspects of sponsor research, at least for Office of Sponsor Research. It's used in all phases of proposal development and awards, and we use it for routing approvals, so you can get your proposals approved by all levels of your department, and it also assists with reporting. In order to access Cayuse, if you don't already have an account, you can go to our website, osp.unm.edu, and there's a link to fill out a form to get a Cayuse account. And if you have further questions, you can email osp@unm.edu, and Stephanie Sanchez can assist you with that. So there's different phases that a record goes through. The first is when it's with the department, and that's when you're building your Cayuse record and you have access to edit everything in the record. Once you're completed with that, it goes through routing for your department to approve. Once it goes through routing, you can no longer edit your proposal. So you want to make sure that it's in its final state before you submit it for routing. Once it's approved in routing, that's when it hits the Office of Sponsor Projects, and we'll be reviewing it and can submit it. If it ends up being selected for funding, that's when it gets tied to a Cayuse project, and the award will be linked to it. If you do need help with your Cayuse, there's a really good user guide on our website that's under the Cayuse tab. It'll tell you basically everything that you need to know. You can also contact the FRDO, and they have a link on their website as well where you can request support, and they can help you set up Cayuse records and answer your questions. You can also contact our office if you have further questions. You can either send it to whoever the specialist is assigned to the proposal, or just send general questions to OSP@UNM. And if you find any technical issues with Cayuse, you can always contact me directly. I'm the systems coordinator for OSP. So another thing is Cayuse 424. This kind of works hand in hand with Cayuse SP. It's basically just a system-to-system application that we use to submit grants. This is used for all grants.gov proposals. So grants.gov is basically a submission hub for a variety of sponsors. Some of the biggest ones that we see are NIH, DoD, and DOE. So if you ever have one of those, they're most likely going to go through Cayuse 424. So you'll need to link your Cayuse SP record to Cayuse 424 prior to routing. Another major system that we use is Fastlane and Research.gov. This is used to support the National Science Foundation. Right now, we use Fastlane for submitting proposals. However, Research.gov is slowly moving over to get rid of Fastlane, and everything will be done through Research.gov. They're kind of interconnected. So if you do need to register for an account, you'll register with Research.gov, and that'll give you access to Fastlane until Fastlane no longer exists. So Research.gov is where you're going to have your pre-award and post-award actions. Things such as no-cost extensions and reporting will be done through Research.gov. And you'll register through Research.gov, and then you'll make sure to affiliate with the University of New Mexico. Another common one that we use quite often is ERA Commons, and this is the National Institutes of Health. You'll be submitting your proposals through Cayuse 424 because this is a grants.gov sponsor. And this is used for pre-award and post-award actions. So things such as just-in-times and progress reports will go through ERA Commons. If you do need an account with ERA Commons, you're going to have to request an account. And this can be done through our website. It's the exact same form if you need to create or request a Cayuse account. You can also request a ERA Commons account through there as well. And that's all I have, Teresa.
Okay, I'm going to go through some of the tools that we have that you can use to financially monitor your awards after you have it. And we basically use two main tools, and that's My Reports and Banner 9. Both can be found on the My UNM website, My Reports under the Reports and Banner 9 under the Banner Services. Do make sure you use Banner 9 and not Banner 8. For both, you just need the Department General Inquiry bar rule, and that you'll have access for all of that. We do have on our website some guides for both My Reports and Banner under cgacct.unm.edu under the Resources tab, Department. These go in far more detail. It gives you more of the parameters that you can use and things like that than what I'm going to get through here today. My Reports also has additional information under the Finance tab in myreportsinfo.unm.edu if you want more information about My Reports. Next slide. In My Reports, if you are wanting some detailed salary information about what was posted on your index, you can use FNR GSLB, which is the Grant Salary Labor Benefits Encumbrance Report. And it basically has everything that was just stated. It has the salary information, it has benefit information, it has encumbrance information. You can see exactly whose salary was posted on your index as well as the amount in fringe. And we recommend that you actually run this monthly so that you can make sure that that the people that are on your index, being charged to your index, really are working on your index, and vice versa. If you're seeing somebody, I know somebody's working on it and their salary isn't being posted there, you know, you can take care of that at that time. You can also, if you have an individual who works multiple projects and you want to make sure that they're being distributed correctly, you can run this report by banner ID, and it will tell you the distribution, you know, how much salary went to what index. And that way too, again, you're saying, I know they weren't working on that project, then you can do a labor redistribution to fix that. For financial information, including expenditures, you can use FRR GLDS, which is the Grant Ledger Detail and Summary. Now, the summary portion will give you the total of the budget, the total of the activity, the total of commitments, and the available balance listed out by the different account codes on your budget. You can also do a detail, which will list out all transactions posted to your index within the date parameter that you choose by account code. And this is another report that we recommend you run monthly so that you can verify all the transactions that posted to your index were supposed to post. And so anything that should be on there, you can remove off. Anything that should be on that you're missing, you can go research it and find out where it ended up being posted. If you want a quick financial picture of your department or a specific PI, FRR CGES, the Contract and Grant Ledger Executive Report, is an excellent tool to do that. For your department, depending if you're running it by your org or for the PI, it will list out every single fund under your org or under your PI and give a total of the budget, activity, encumbrances, commitments, and available balance. Not by the account code like the other one did, but just a grand total. And so it's a quick picture to look at. It also gives a burn rate. And what the burn rate is the amount that has been spent on the award compared to the time on the award. And the closer to zero, the better. So if you want to check to see if you're overspending, you're spending far quicker than the time on the award, or vice versa, you're underspending, the burn rate is a good tool to use for that. It's also really important because some of our federal agencies are now doing incremental funding based on burn rates. So if you're underspending, they may not give you as much money, or they will delay giving you the next increment. And then FRGGR 90 is a closeout workflow report. Now the closeout workflow, which is the grant 90-day process, 90 days before your fund, your index is going to end, a workflow is generated and an email is sent out to both the department and to the PI telling you that this fund is about ready to end in 90 days. And it goes through different statuses. It first goes to the department administrator's queue, and that's where you say, oh, we're going to extend it, or no, we're going to go ahead and close it. And then from there, it goes based on what you stated as to where it goes next and the full workflow. This report actually tells you the status of where that workflow is. Is it in your queue waiting to be stating whether it's extended or closed? Is it in OSP's queue waiting for them to continue working with the agency for an extension? Is it in your fiscal monitor's queue waiting for them to send you a closeout reconciliation form? That tells you what stage it's in. Next slide, please. Now, Banner is our official financial monitoring tool. I know that a lot of departments have shadow systems and such, but you always have to remember Banner is our official financial record. So some of the tools that you can find, some of the screens you can find that can help you in Banner, the first one is Fragrant, F-R-A-G-R-N-T, and this gives you an overall award information. It's the grant. And it has multiple tabs, but the main tab gives you the main information. So it'll tell you who's the responsible org, what's the title of the award, the agency, who's the lead PI, project dates, amount. It even tells you the CAIUS award number as well as the sponsor ID. The personnel tab is handy because it will give you all the personnel on the award, your PI, co-PIs, other key personnel, but it'll also tell you who your fiscal monitor is if you're not sure. It will also state who the department admin is recorded in Banner, and that's important because workflow, as we talked about the grant 90-day closeout workflow, goes to Banner to choose who the department admin is and whose queue that workflow goes to. And it will tell you who the chair or the director is. For fund information, FRM Fund can give you budget dates. We have awards that come in, and some of them are funded based on budget periods, not the full award. So they'll say, okay, you can spend this money, but you can only spend it through this budget period. And then after that's over, we'll send you more money for the next budget period. An FRM fund is handy because you can actually check to see what the budget periods are for your fund. FTI FATA is a useful screen to find out what the over expenditure index is for your particular index and fund. For financial information and posted expenditures, FRIGITD, or we call it Frigidin, is the Banner equivalent of the My Reports FRRGLDS. So it does, in a summary fashion, give you the budget, activity, commitments, and available balance by the account code for whatever date parameter you give. So you can do it for the whole award period. You can do it for the month. You can do it for a year, whatever date parameters you want. And it gives similar information, as I said, as the My Reports. From there, you can go to a related screen, FRIGTRD, which gives you the detail of all the postings for that account code based on the date parameters that you stated. Now, some people will say, well, which should I use? Should I use Banner or should I use my reports? And that depends. If you want a quick picture, then Banner is the place to go. If you want more detail where it all prints out nicely, then My Reports works well. We recommend My Reports for your monthly reports so that you can see the whole picture of your detail, that sort of thing. And payroll can only be found on the My Reports, the payroll information, rather than just a summary. Next slide, please. For billing, some people want to know what was billed on the award and whether it's been paid or not. This is especially comes up with private industries. You know, the PI says, I want to make sure we're being paid on this award. And FRIBILL, F-R-I-B-I-L-L, will show you the listing of all the bills as well as what's been paid and what hasn't been paid. For encumbrances and POs, FGIOENC is a handy tool because it lists all the open commitments based on your index number. So if you have had a lot of POs on a particular award and you're not sure which ones are still open and which ones aren't, and you need to close one or because we're at the end of the award or something, this is the screen to go because it will actually list out what's still open. If you want more detail of the particular commitment, the particular encumbrance, you go to FGIENCD and it will give you all the transactions that occurred for that particular encumbrance, as well as is it open, is it closed. FRIPSTG gives a list of all the grants in Banner for a particular person. So if you enter the Banner ID, if they have been a PI, co-PI, or a chair on that award, it will list those grants out, both the active and the closed. And you're able to filter it. So if you only want to see the active awards, you can do that, filter it so that it only bring that portion up. Obviously, there's a lot more Banner screens out there, and there's a lot more reports under My Reports, but these are some of the main ones that you can use to monitor. And again, if you know which one do you want to use, My Reports and Banner, it just depends. You know, My Reports can print out the detail nicely for you, and you can manipulate it. You can print it out into Excel, so you can say, well, this was charges that shouldn't have gone. I'm going to remove this. If I remove this, what will my balance be? That sort of thing. But Banner is a quick check. You know, how much is the available balance under this account code right now? And that's makes it a lot faster. Also, My Reports is ran nightly, is updated nightly. So when you run the report, it's based on information from yesterday. Most of Banner is live. If you have postings that come through, it will show up in Banner that day. The exception is that the F&A is done at night during the nightly FSM run. And so you won't see the F&A portion in Banner until the next day. And I think we are ready for questions. If you have questions or if you want Nick or I to show you something specific, we're ready for that.